Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Whenever you are, madam.
Yes.
I call this public meeting of the Eagle Mountain Saginaw Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present and that this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. All right. I believe we did not have any speakers signed up this evening, so we can jump right into reports. First report, I'm going to actually give. That's our continuing education report for our board members. I am happy to report that everyone exceeded training hours. Give yourselves a hand for doing such a good job. Specifically, I want to highlight Marilyn Tolbert, who is our overachiever with almost 46 hours of training, and Steve Luker not far behind with 32. So thank you all for taking your training so seriously. Appreciate it.
If we'd remember to put all our numbers in, we'd have even more, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we can remember to.
All right, moving on. A finance report, Mr. Welch.
Good evening, trustees. Tonight we, in order to talk about budget, I guess at this time of the year when we're talking about what's happening in the legislature, that's really driving what's going to happen and what we're able to propose in the way of budget. So we're keeping our eyes on what's happening in Austin, as well as trying to make sure that people have all the appropriate information along the way so that good decisions are being made when we talk about the outcome for public education. I wish I could tell you that with the budget surplus that we saw going into the session that it looks like public education is going to have a lot of the solutions, from whether it be dealing with inflation, whether we're dealing with school safety, all the number of things that we focus on. But we're not seeing that inertia happen in Austin right now. And so a couple of quick updates on some of the bills that are going through. The first one is there's a committee substitute for House Bill 100, which is the school finance bill coming out of the House. There's the main thing we're watching in that, and there's a lot of different adjustments happening throughout the school finance system and the formula, but the main thing we're looking at there is the basic allotment, and that bill right now is only showing about a $90 increase to the basic allotment. And so when we look at that, we have seen studies in the actual amount it would take going back to the 2019 year pre-COVID. It would take about $1,000 in an adjustment to the basic allotment to bring us back to that same level of buying power, which affects us throughout the whole district and affects what we're able to do with salaries, which then also affects, obviously, our employees are dealing with that in their households as well. $1,000 per student, and right now that number is only about $90. We saw just right before this meeting, we had a run from the Legislative Budget Board that gets into district specifics, and for us here in Eagle Mountain Saginaw, that number is only about $4.6 million in an increase in going into the next year. That's just not enough to deal with what we're seeing in just annual increases, much less to compensate for what's happened over the last couple of years of the biennium without any adjustments. And so it's a very frustrating time right now. And that bill will go and be heard by the House on Wednesday. And so we're hoping we will have some better discussions coming out of, and better effects coming out of off the House floor come Wednesday. We need more support than what's happening right now. Other bills to look at. On the safety side, we have the committee substitute for Senate Bill 11. And I did include in your in the board packet the current rendition of that is only providing us about a $500,000 increase. It does go in and provide a minimum amount per per campus for school safety, and we believe school safety is something that needs to be addressed at the campus level, not necessarily at a district-wide ADA number. It's really driven by the number of campuses you have. So it does address that, but it's still only generating about $500,000, and that's a far cry from even what we currently spend right now on school safety. It just does not support the needs of school districts in the state of Texas. That $500,000 would go towards and add to the existing $215,000 amount that we have. So it only generate about a total of $700,000. Again, only about a $500,000 increase there. But again, watching that one. The other, some other bills, and on the House side, when it comes to safety, they actually have two bills circulating right now. House Bill 3, it does look at the campus level as well. It's only providing about a $15,000 amount per campus, and as we know, that doesn't cover the cost of what we believe is the right solution for school safety. And on the House Bill 13, it comes back and looks at adjusting the ADA amount, the amount per ADA from right now it's just under $10. This would take it to about $100 per ADA, but also it requires, it has certain stipulations to it that would be required as well that would add to what that money can be used for. So again, it's not addressing it at the campus level that we feel like is necessary. So there are, like I said, we have several bills out there that we're tracking. All of them are important to us, and we're just, we need more support for public ed, and it's not there right now. So with that, like I said, we'll be bringing back some additional information in May. We'll be through the session quite a bit to where we'll be able to see, hopefully, be able to make some decisions on what we can propose as a budget in the what we may be able to do for next year. So, any questions?
Okay, thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Moving on to our operations report. First, we have a construction update. Mr. Welch.
Tonight we have several operations reports. The first one will be construction, and we'll start off with Eagle Mountain High School, and we have some slides over that. Plus, at the end, we have a drone flyover, which will give you a different view of the project. This picture here shows the main entrance from the academic building. You see the glass is going in, the storefronts, and what you can't see is the roof membrane is also in progress on top of the building. We're at the one on the right is the back end. That's the courtyard, showing that the pond is, they put in the clay base to it. You also see the back of the main academic building. You see the bridgeway getting connected, and you see part of the cafeteria, which has the yellow little upside down L. And then on your bottom ones, we're just looking at some of the gyms area. You see on the right, those are blockouts for the windows, and they pour the ICF in between those. So that's in progress. And the other one's just showing cranes working on that main part of the gym. Now we move to the stadium. On the left is the iron structure, columns and beams for the press box. The one on the right shows the visitor side. You see the slabs that have been poured. If you look real close, you can see some CMU block along with rough-in plumbing. So that is in progress. And just some more work on the field house on the bottom right, two pictures with the CMU block going up. They're working on the center part now along with the right side. Hellas has mobilized on site. So they'll start on the auxiliary / soccer field first, then they'll move to the baseball, softball complex. And then on the bottom right is part of the tennis structure. That's one of the main But they're all competition slabs, but this one has a better seating arrangement, so that's what they're working on there. And the one on the left is the finished, as you remember, it's a very hilly site, so it does require some structure to help level off, and that is the soccer/auxiliary field, as you see there. And there'll be something where obviously kids won't jump off that, but it's pretty massive. So we had the pleasure with the Elizabeth Lopez Hatley Elementary that Ms. Liz came out last Friday with the building principal, assistant principal, and so they received a tour of the building for the most part of it. So it's all that progress. So Liz, some of these pictures are a little older, so there is a little more progress here, but you can see the landscaping. So they've laid some of the sod down, so we probably got 20% of the site already has sod. And good or bad, it rained. It's good for the grass, but it's bad for other things. Showing the rock work and brickwork on the library and the front of the building. And just looking, you got 4 main areas, and you got sheetrock, tape and bedding. You got the painting continues, and you got the office area has been painted, and 4th of the classrooms have been painted. When you move upstairs, you don't see any sheetrock yet. So that one on the top left is upstairs. And this was just kind of a mobilization day with cranes. Let's see, the top of that, we received those transformers, so we have those in place, and there's some roof work going on. So that was a good day to take pictures of things happening there. And then the bottom right, they're cleaning the brick on the gym on the east side of that picture. So one of these pictures, let's see if I see it. No, I don't have it. Like I told Liz and the group, the biggest thing we need to do is get rid of the large crane that was putting the structure for Area D. And so it moved out on Saturday, which means we start buttoning that building up and we can start working on the finishes. So that was kind of a benchmark to get to, so that at some point it just becomes just, how many people can you put on the project? And so that kind of, it's been going on, but now that that's out of the way, that's going to pick up. So we're still behind on it, and we'll just keep going at it, and we'll know more solidly in June. Now, obviously, the furniture's still showing up in July, so that's the marching orders we have. So any questions over these before we show the drone?
How far are they behind?
I'd say 18 days. Got to make that up. So we'll have several different plans to accommodate that, depending on how many, we know how many students we're supposed to have. And there's 2 main buildings. We'll have the front one first, obviously, with the library and the gym and the admin. But the one that'll lag the furthest will be the one on the left, Area D, upstairs. So as long as we can get the fire marshal and get everything put in place, we'll have, worst case scenario, we'll have some of the building.
Cafeteria?
It's in the main academic area.
Are they working 6 or 7 days a week yet, or are they still?
They're on 7 days. We've had a hard time getting, very few of them are working Sundays. But at some point, we'll just start working at night. So that'll be a different group that comes in. So we'll just, like I said, we'll get in June, and then we'll see where we're at for that next step. So this is kind of a sped up drone, so it moves pretty fast. That was the roof structure on the main academic, the white membrane. That's moving toward the front of the building.
Required storm shelter is the gym still?
It's to the left, just coming in the picture.
Okay.
It's the one that I believe doesn't have the roof on it. And that's the foyer for the gym and the concrete. And you can see the main bleachers on the home side going up. So in 11 months, I mean, that was dirt at one point. So they've done a good job as far as staying on schedule, staying ahead of schedule. Got it.
Nice.
Any other questions?
It's on time, high school.
All right, thank you. Moving on to our maintenance update, Mr. McWhorter.
Good evening, President Rain, trustees, Dr. Chadwell. This is your maintenance update for spring of 2023. We had an auction in October that was held, and we collected $39,810 in proceeds. Some of the things we sold: landscape equipment, food equipment, used turf, weight equipment, health services equipment, and two vehicles. Here, the sign at the Agricultural Science Barn was redone due to fading. We did leave a space for Eagle Mountain High School, and we'll add that in the summer of 2024 prior to the school opening. This was the final project for the 2021 freeze at the HCTC. It's now complete with the installation of new flooring, and all the equipment there you see in the top right picture and the two bottom pictures is brand new. Here are Ben Escobar on the left at the top and Rodrigo Meja on the right, who make up our paint department. These men continue to do amazing work, providing dramatic changes to campuses in a short period of time. There on the left, you have a before and after of some gates, and then they painted the top of the trash can lids at some of the stadiums. Here's a few before and after pictures at Elkins Elementary, the nurse's office, then outside, and a fire hydrant. We received a request from Saginaw High School Athletics to repurpose two equipment sheds to make a two golf training rooms. We initially got a $26,000 quote from Goldsmith to do the painting, and we completed that work for $6,000 in-house with paint, primer, and man hours. Here, our paint department team teamed up with the art classes at Highland Middle School to paint a new banner in the weight room. Here we have Jim Wilhite from our carpentry department. He upgraded our uniform closet at the John L. Price Maintenance Facility to add double clothes racks, which basically doubled our capacity in that room. Here, Jim built new cabinetry for 4 classrooms at Eagle Mountain Elementary School that had flooded from an early storm in the fall of 2022. On the left are pictures of a utility trailer that was redecked for our maintenance department, and on the right is a picture of a van that was retrofitted with shelving for the paint department. Moving on to general maintenance, this is Eagle Mountain Elementary School, a project to lift flat work between the building to avoid potential trip hazards. This was the Mildred Vick renovation. This renovation included paint, hallway, and classroom wall repairs, and new boys' restroom fixtures. This was as a result of the foundation shifting. More Mildred Vick flood restoration. Again, we had 4 classrooms impacted by major flooding from courtyard during a fall storm. We replaced drywall, carpet, and cabinetry. Here, the administration building model, general maintenance installed signage at the central administration building and assembled furniture. We installed directional signage at central administration. This saved the district $5,000 in installation costs. Here we moved the teams from Saginaw Elementary to Building 5. We repaired drywall, replaced lighting, installed fencing, and other minor improvements to meet fire code. Moving on to the HVAC department. The HVAC department completed the summer heater project. They installed mini splits at various athletic complexes to prevent freeze damage during winter storms. The electrical department upgraded the lighting at the Tim and Vicki Dennis Dance and Cheer facility at Boswell High School. Upgraded lighting at high schools before football season started. A 5-year landscape plan was developed to replace plants and trees lost in 2021 freeze. Here we have pictures of our completed project at Bryson Elementary School. Here we replaced sod at Lake Point Elementary School and also at Elkins. The 5-year landscape plan was completed following the 2021 freeze at Chisholm Trail High School. These are pictures of some of the cleanup after the March 2nd spring storm. Here a tree was uprooted at Saginaw Elementary School. Moving on to the plumbing department, we received a work order for sewer gas smells at Elkins Elementary School. The plumbing department assessed the interior of the wall, or accessed, in the interior of the wall and upgraded the vent piping on the plumbing system. And also the cast iron piping was replaced with Schedule 40 PVC. This is before. After, we replaced the framing, piping, drywall, tile, and flush valves. Roof drain repairs. This was for roof drain leaks discovered by discolored ceiling tiles. Plumbers replaced old cast iron piping with Schedule 40 PVC and re-insulated to prevent condensation. Roof drain repairs have typically been contracted out, and we've recently started doing the work in-house. It's very time-consuming and heavy work, and we're doing these on school breaks and weekends and saving tens of thousands of dollars by doing these in-house. Here was we repaired broken water lines at Saginaw High School baseball softball complex due to shifting soil. And lastly, this was at the ACTC. Foot spas were installed, and they were supplied by the campus and the Salvador Plumbing Department, and this was part of the winter freeze project as well. And that's it. Any questions?
Well, no, but I do want to say how much we appreciate that you're being prudent with our district funds. And I know that's saving, many thousands of dollars, and we appreciate that. And also the fact that, when you shared this, you put the gentleman that worked in each one of the departments. And I just feel like having seen this department grow over many, many years, I'm just so amazed at the professionals you've brought in and how conscientious they are about their work. And they're proud of their work.
Yes, they are.
And we appreciate them.
Thank you.
Please be sure and tell your gentleman that.
Will do.
And I'd also like to commend Tom. Of course, we got Hunter, Dwayne, Billy, Cleet. But having a direct tie to a lot of the maintenance and people that you have, specifically in your department, you've you've changed the culture, you've done things that make those people have a lot of pride in their work, and they enjoy coming to work and working for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, next we have a Gold Star Transportation update, Mr. Jones.
Evening, President Ring, members of the board, and Dr. Chadwell. So we are completing year 2 of an initial 3-year agreement, or 3-year term, I should say, with Gold Star. That will be concluding. This will be the final year, and then we'll go to 2 1-year options, and those will be brought back next year. But the agreement does allow for annual increases, annual rate increases. Those are based on the Consumer Price Index for the Dallas-Fort Worth and Arlington market. The Bureau of Labor Statistics does show this year the CPI to be at 5.8%. And so Gold Star is requesting or proposing that they have a rate increase that matches that CPI at 5.8%. That is roughly around $420,000 of the annual increase over the current year. They feel that with the current shortage continuing on with the labor market, the increase would allow them to, one, remain competitive in the market, but then also be able to give their current employees, drivers and monitors, a little bit higher of a pay increase, but then also, while remaining competitive with the market, be able to offer a rate that it would help them with both recruiting and then also the retention side of it. So that's what they are proposing. They are working on the 2023-24 budget now, and I'll be bringing that to you next month, along with the action item for this to see if you guys are okay with approving the 5.8%. So again, this is just a report item tonight, but I will answer any questions if you do have any.
Questions?
How is our bus service? I haven't heard as many complaints this year, so are they being more reliable on time?
Well, yeah, we still have some challenges, but overall, I would agree that it's been a lot quieter this year. Obviously, we're not where we want to be, but even if, I don't know that I would even say that we were if we were, because I think there's always room to get better and improve. But with what they are dealing with on the shortage, I think that they've done well, and the calls that they have gotten, I think that we've improved also on the customer service side. So to field those calls and to listen to parents and concerns, I think they've improved in that as well. So I know I haven't received as many calls that have been escalated, to me, whatever. So I do feel like it's an improvement over last year.
How's the communication tool working? We had some issues with rolling that out. Is it up and effective now, or?
It is not. So we are actually looking at some other options that are not, that are an outside party that would be added to. It would be another vendor that we would add to the buses. So I'm reviewing those things now. There's some surrounding districts that have used different products. So I've sat through a couple of demos on that side or whatever. And so that's something that the goal is that we would have something that we could roll out for the August start of school year or whatever. But that's something we're still currently working on. I'm hoping to bring that back to you in the next month or two.
And is that something that we would be paying for, or something that Gold Star would be paying for?
So right now I'm talking with them about doing some sort of a cost share. So we would have some expense to it from the district side or whatever, but it would be something that I've already talked somewhat with Gold Star leadership about doing at least a cost share on that, so that, because it is, I do think it would be an enhancement to the overall program and definitely cut down on some of those concerns about whether it be delays or whatever. I think that app will head off some of those questions before they even become a concern. So they have an interest in it as well, but it is so, again, I haven't gotten the quote on the second one. Like I said, I've sat through 2 demos, but it is something that I feel pretty strongly that we'll have something in place, one of those 2 that I've demoed before the start of the 23-24 school year.
Dwayne, are the buses running on time? Are they being picked up on time at, after school? And where are we with, all the things about the different activities, buses for, all our kids when they go to places? How are we with that this year?
We're still having some delays, and again, it's driven mostly because of the driver shortage. So they're still having to try and cover some routes and do some doubling up, because as the last time that, last report I got, we were still 19 drivers short and 11 monitors. So on a 92 home to school route district, 19 drivers is fairly substantial. So, but again, we are having some challenges on that from the delay standpoint, but the communication side I think has improved, which while it's not ideal, and we certainly don't want students on a bus for that long or be waiting at the stop for that long. I do think the communication side has significantly improved, so that a parent may not be happy about it, but they're not mad that there was no communication about the delay or about the, now that still happens some, but I definitely think it's it's a significant improvement over prior years. So.
And what about the school activities in the buses? That was an issue last year.
I haven't been hearing anything about that, so evidently that's gotten better. Are they facilitating the opportunity for the coaches and the instructors to get their CDLs? Are they accommodating their schedules, which that was an issue early? I haven't heard anything lately, so I assume they are.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely improved. So yeah, there's more offerings, and they're trying to do it at times that are more convenient for coaches to be able to do it where they're not having to leave, during school hours and whatnot. So.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Anything else? All right.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Next up, a child nutrition report, Mr. Wiley.
Good evening, President Ring, members of the board, Dr. Chadwell. It's been a good year in child nutrition. Eagle Mountain Saginaw ISD was once again the recipient of the, oh wait, let me open up. There it is. There you go, recipient of the Turn Up the Beat Award. Last year received the Silver Award, but this year we were one of the only 8 districts in Texas to receive the Gold Award. The Turn Up the Beat Award recognizes outstanding summer meal program sponsors across the nation who work to offer high quality meals to children that are appetizing, appealing, and nutritious during the summer months. To earn the Turn Up the Beat Award, a district must serve local foods, a variety of fruits and vegetables, and whole grains. We had a visit from the Southwest Dairy farmers this year. During National School Lunch Week, the Southwest Dairy farmers brought their mobile classroom and cow to Chisholm Ridge Elementary. The event brought a unique opportunity for students to learn about healthy eating as well as where our food and milk come from before reaching our plates. The experience gave our students the opportunity to meet real dairy cow and connect with the Texas dairy production by bringing the dairy experience and process to the students.
Aaron, can you make sure that cow picture gets up there? I don't know if is it.
I don't think it's up.
It's not. That's a unique picture.
It's on
Can you help us out?
Yeah.
We like that picture.
There it is.
There we go. All right. We're going to try and get that out to a few more elementary schools next year also. So we got them for this one time here, and we're going to try and book them a little more in advance so we can get multiple schools next year. There we go. The USDA is once again proposing more restrictive nutrition standards that would further limit sodium and added sugars. Proposes 2 options for chocolate milk in schools and would change how weekly whole grain flexibilities are on the menu. It's always fun. The biggest impact, of course, will be with the sodium, where they're proposing a 10% reduction to both breakfast and lunch in 2025, another 10% in 2027, then in a third with just lunch only in 2029. This would potentially impact some of our standards. At elementary, we'd no longer be able to serve cinnamon rolls, French toast sticks, or 60% of our current cereal options. Syrup would no longer be offered, and with the proposed sodium limits, it would be harder to offer a protein variety of breakfast. It's definitely another eye-opener. Their thoughts are that if we do it slowly, that their taste buds or palates would adjust, but they're just going to go home and have sodium at home. It's not going to adjust because they're not getting that all the time.
Cinnamon rolls will never, my palate will never adjust to that.
A sodium-free cinnamon roll?
You think more food products will be developed along those lines since this is the new?
They would, but last time this happened, we lost a bunch of people out of the industry. And I just think, because it takes so much for them to design these new products, we'll lose more, we'll just have less selection. So it become more difficult. Their idea behind it would be to, do more from scratch cooking, but you need a lot of labor to do from, cooking straight from scratch. And right now, that's also a problem across the nation, is getting enough labor into schools.
I believe in the current standards, a 6-inch wheat Subway sandwich, vegetable, has too much sodium.
Wouldn't
Just the
meet.
bread.
Yeah.
Without anything on it. So it's very strict, and we have a lot of concerns on this because the reality is people do have choice, and their choice is, even if they took lunch, is just not to eat it. Or to bring food. And it's concerning. I think it's pushed beyond the limit of it, of what the palate, but also even what reasonableness is in this area. So unfortunately, this is at the federal level. We're very limited in what we can do. But I know y'all are very creative and will do everything you can within the limits that we have. But
Absolutely. It's still in the comment phase. We are, we're mobilizing everyone we can to make sure they're putting comments in there, and we're hoping they'll listen, but it seems last time they didn't. At lunch, we need to remove some student favorites on the menu, including nachos and some other items that have a lot of cheese. A la carte is yet to be determined. They haven't really said how this is going to affect the a la carte regulations, how that'll be implemented for the snack bars and bistros yet, so that's also a concern for us. The two options of milk would either allow flavored milk for only grades 9 through 12 or just maintain the current standard. We're hoping they just stick with the current standard because the theory is it's better to have chocolate milk than no milk at all. Boards and committees. Our Assistant Director of Child Nutrition, Ms. Megan Martinson, has been representing our district nationally in a multitude of ways over the prior year. She's the current treasurer and member of the Executive Committee for the National School Nutrition Services Dietetic Practice Group. She's the chair-elect for 23-24 and will become the chair for this group in 24-25. She's represented our district as the president of Child Nutrition Directors of North Texas for the past year. And finally, she's participated in Kellogg's Advisory Committee, Oak Farm's Dairy Nutrition Expert Panel, and was invited to participate on the interactive USDA listening sessions for regarding proposed nutrition standards. So we kind of knew this was coming because she was able to sit there and listen in on what they were talking about. We also had our first year participating in the TCU Dietetic Intern Program. The Child Nutrition Department has participated with the Department of Nutrition Sciences at TCU to help with interns needing the required hours in child nutrition. Dietetic interns must currently complete 1,200 hours of supervised practice in a variety of areas, including child nutrition, prior to being able to take the registered dietitian exam. Our current intern, Lena Robertson, will complete her hours with us tomorrow, April 25th. It's been very successful. It's been a lot of help in the office. She's able to get experience with us, and we're able to utilize her skills. All right, on the horizon / excess fund balance. Due to additional funds being added to our government meal reimbursements during the pandemic, the Child Nutrition Department has an excess fund balance higher than what is allowed by the USDA. The USDA only allows up to 3 operating months expenditures to be kept in the Child Nutrition Fund balance. Currently, that amount is set at just over $2.8 million, and we have a fund balance of just over $5.6. We have 3 projects currently in progress at an estimated cost of $4.25 million that will bring us back into compliance. Our first project is the Saginaw High School refresh during the summer of 2023. This process will include the refresh of all equipment and serving lines. You have a mock-up of the serving lines. The actual stone and front artwork on that is not exactly what it's going to be. We got this one in, we didn't like it, so we've submitted for some new proposals on what we're going to have on there. You can see the 2 middle serving lines there, and what you can't see from behind that is we're actually knocking the wall out in between. So they'll go in the sides and they'll come out the middle, but it's one big long serving line, with 2 cashiers coming in from 2 directions. So it'll sort of open it up a little bit. Our second project will be the replacement of serving lines at High Country, Remington Point, and Chisholm Ridge. And actually, what I don't have on here is we're actually doing Halfley also. So Halfley will also be getting a new serving line. And finally, we'll be completing a district-wide equipment refresh for any equipment needing to be replaced during the 23-24 school year. With these 3 projects, we will easily be back in compliance by January of 2024. And our final item to discuss is 2023-2024 pricing. Pending official release, the expectation is that the TDA will stand by the previous rule implemented in 2018, which stated any district with a positive or zero balance in its nonprofit school food service account as of January 31st of the current year is exempt from the paid lunch equity requirements, meaning that we will not be mandated to raise school prices. Obviously, we have a very large fund balance right now. We don't see any need to raise our prices until we end up having a deficit for a year, and at that point, we will look at raising our pricing. You can see current pricings around the area, and we are still the market leader, able to keep our prices down as low as possible. And this is for informational purposes only, no recommendation necessary at this time. Do you have any questions?
They won't let us lower the prices of the meals. They won't, to use the fund balance, they require us to charge what we're charging, I guess.
Correct. And the issue is they have been giving us these extra reimbursements, and then this year they continued to give us the extra reimbursements. So whereas I thought we would probably lose money this year, we're not anticipating to lose money this year either. So we're going to, but food costs and other costs are going up. So I expect that to level out in the next year or two. Thank you very much.
I'm going to echo what Liz said about the maintenance department. Thank you for all your hard work and all your employees. And I mean, you continue to do stellar work and the awards, and I mean, the surplus to enable so many things again. So we again appreciate so much your pride and the care that you take to make sure our kids are being fed and fed well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, next up we have a human resources report, Dr. Gamillo.
Good evening, President Ring, Board of Trustees, Dr. Chadwell. I'm here to bring the next staffing report for this season. We refer to this as the other staffing report. These positions directly serve students, but they are not our general classroom teachers. They are served through other programs, special education, athletics, and we do have some CTE programs on the list tonight. So a lot has gone into this process because similar to the budget, a lot of what we can do with staffing is being driven by what's happening in Austin. So we have worked very closely with Dr. Parker, and I think Dr. Hughes is here to really try to bring you what we feel confident we can support at this point. I will tell you, this is not everything that we've looked at. We are waiting to see what happens, and possibly we'll bring more in the month of May. But with the enrollment increase in our special population and that we're expecting in the district, the expansion of athletics with Eagle Mountain High School, these are priorities that have already been set. We feel we need to move forward to serve our students. With special education in particular, we really feel that we need to go ahead and get out in front so we can recruit the best. This remains our hardest to fill teaching position and the hardest to fill support positions. So we want to go ahead and get out in front to support our kids with special needs, and this program enrollment, you'll hear later tonight, is expanding in our district. More and more kids are being identified with these needs. So we do have some positions that we have worked with Dr. Parker if we need to contract services out. If we don't get the funding we're expecting from Austin, we do have a plan to still support kids if we don't bring additional FTEs through contract services. We're just bringing what we feel confident we can support at this point. Do you have any questions?
That answered mine.
What about it's all coming from local funds, there's not any title money that are going to support what we're asking to add?
No, the title doesn't support SPED. When you talk to Mr. West, he'll tell you that we really have to allocate local funds because only about 30% possibly could come from other sources. And so he really likes us to just stay with the locally funded and just have a real honest look at the numbers. So that's how we're doing it.
Now, in current technology, there's some weighted funding. It does say local, but there's some additional CTE funding that comes. And we also, for example, the business classes, those are typically are higher enrollment than your average CTE course, but are not in equipment. There's not a heavy equipment requirement. Therefore, they tend to be less expensive to manage. So they tend to be a positive, a net positive for your budget in that area. And those are based on courses that we offer in the new program on investments and securities, which is the position at the HCTC, and then the position at Wayside Middle School and Ed Wilkie are both business positions that are going to be similar to what I said earlier.
Dr. Gamel, and Dr. Hughes may have to answer this, but the SHARS money, what does those funds, when we collect those funds, where does that go? Okay, and so the general fund it does not pay salary?
No, it goes back into the district's general fund.
But let me explain, and then Dr. Hughes, you can come. The money technically always goes into your general fund, but we count on it to pay for special services.
Okay.
But it is a delay. It's not, for example, some SHARS funding is a reimbursement from 2 years ago.
Oh.
And so it is a lot of different pieces, and then it'll come into you and you receive that refunding, if you will. And then there would be no way to tie it directly to services that year because you don't even get the funding back. We essentially pay for it first and then we get reimbursed the following year. The first year we received very little going back in time when we put that in. Now we're up to
About 2.5 million.
Yes, that's the name, about 2.5 million. So our reimbursements have been pretty significant. So the accurate thing is it goes in the general fund, but reality is that we count on it in order to pay for our special education programs and also health services. So some of the reimbursements have to do with nursing. They're not directly what's happening in the classroom, there's what's happening in the nurse's office, so.
Yes, and also transportation. We get a portion of transportation, and then testing materials and supplies are also reimbursed. What we're challenged by is that as the Medicaid reimbursement rates fluctuate, it does impact our SHARS Medicaid reimbursement that the district receives.
So basically, we don't count on it for salary purposes?
That's correct.
Okay.
We use it for other needs.
But if we didn't have it, it would be 2.5 million that we didn't have to pay for things. So we would have to find a way to do that. Now, 2.5 is great, but it's been 2.5 for a while. And you mentioned the fluctuations. We haven't seen a significant increase in some of the service costs in that area. But there's always, and that's all at the federal level. So it bypasses the state, comes directly through to us.
Yes, thank you.
And so this is a $2.1 million report. And you said we're going to get 4.6 million more next year, was your estimate? I just want to make sure we're keeping up with, got a chart going.
Well, there's two amounts. There's the 4.6, there's also enrollment. So
Right.
we'll receive enrollment as well. So if he's building a budget based on 600 students, and this is built based on 600 students. Where it gets a little bit more granular for special education is every person you hire is tied to actual specific people that we know, not just people that we may have. So we're looking at their IEPs and looking at what requirements are of the IEP, especially, for example, the self-contained positions. But you hit a good point. So as we were working through this, and it was a very, very involved process, we had to make some determinations of what we know for sure, as Dr. Kamel said, but based upon enrollment, and sometimes those students don't come to us until June or July, we don't even know who they are yet. If we do have some increases that are beyond our current expectations, then we would have to hire additional people. But it is something cumulatively, there's a concern when you handle the staff part of it and the compensation part of it. And what Mr. Welch said earlier, when we're expecting $1,000 more to keep up with inflation and we're getting a couple of hundred at most, there's some significant concerns in what happens when the state's budget's finalized.
And that really is why we're waiting. There are other positions that we've met with from many other departments. We are really just honing in on what we need to serve our kids at this point. And so we're just being really conservative. Like I said, I have one more report possibly next month if priorities are set and things go the way we're hoping they go. But we're being very cognizant of the reality.
Do you have the running total? Can you get us the running total on what we'll be approving so we know how much? Because we've had several of these.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Any others? Oh, she's got the one too. Yeah, but if we
Today,
can
or
just
you
get
mean
it.
Previous meetings or?
Yeah, if we can just get it in the report, I think that would be beneficial for everyone.
Thank you.
thank you very much. Does 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, does that give you enough time? If so, come on up, Dr. Hughes. Let's hear about special programs.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, board members, Dr. Chadwell. It is with great pleasure that I present to you the Special Programs Report. So the Department of Special Programs encompasses the Multi-Tiered System of Supports, or MTSS, our Section 504 of the Americans with Disabilities Act and Special Education. The special education and dyslexia programs are subject to state and federal audit and compliance requirements. I will begin by reviewing highlights of the district's multi-tiered system of supports, which is directed by Ms. Beth Epps. Aligned with the district's Aspire 2025 strategic plan, Excellence in Academics, Objectives 1.1 and 3.1, MTSS encompasses all of the Tier 2 and Tier 3 student interventions and supports across 3 domains. These domains include SEL, academics, and behavior interventions and supports. Screeners are used at all levels to identify students who may be in need of Tier 2 and Tier 3 support. Once identified, student goals are written and data are collected to monitor student progress and response to interventions. Through the campus care team process, student data at Tier 2 and Tier 3 are systematically reviewed and goals are adjusted accordingly. This is a very dynamic process. As students respond to interventions, they move between the tiers. And as part of the care team and student review process, referrals for special education, the Child Find, have been returned to the campus, so that's now a function of the campus care teams. Of course, special programs team, we provide support for the Child Find referral process as needed. So currently there are 1,087 students receiving Tier 3 reading and or math interventions at the elementary school level, and 700 students receiving Tier 3 reading and or math interventions at the middle school level. At the high school level, supports look a little different because the focus is on helping students meet their graduation requirements. Dyslexia and dysgraphia services are provided as Tier 3 interventions for students when they do not need the specially designed instruction through special education. The needs of students with dyslexia and dysgraphia are met in several ways. Currently, we have 544 students served through the standard dyslexia protocol, which is our certified academic language dyslexia therapist on the campus. It's considered the general education Tier 3 intervention through Take Flight. We have 733 students who are served through an individualized education program through special education, and 790 students receive accommodations through Section 504. So that includes all of our dyslexia students. They are eligible as a student with 504 accommodations. We also have 54 students who receive services for dysgraphia. And the district is at the leading edge for serving students in this area. Most districts in the area do not provide targeted interventions for students with dysgraphia. In the area of MTSS behavior support, we currently have 118 students receiving Tier 2 support and 69 students receiving Tier 3 behavior support. As part of the tiered interventions, we have 8 elementary schools and 1 high school campus that has student success academies to support the behavior needs of students. Through this tiered support for behavior, 35 students were referred for a Child Find, a special education evaluation, and of those that were referred, 27 were determined to be eligible for services. Additionally, we have 88 teachers who are receiving coaching support through our coaching by the MTSS behavior support team. Next, we'll turn our focus to Section 504 of the Americans with Disabilities Act, provided through Section 504 that aligns with Aspire 2025, Excellence in Academics, Objective 1.1. The district's 504 program is coordinated by Ms. Alina Waters. And under Section 504, students receive needed accommodations to gain access to the learning environment. The district currently serves 2,110 students who receive Section 504 accommodations, and dyslexia students account for 33% of this group. 67% of students are served for disabilities or conditions other than dyslexia. The district's comprehensive special education program aligns with the Excellence in Academics pillar of Aspire 2025, Objective 1.1, and special education is under the direction of Ms. Cindy Peavy. So at the core of special education is the district's obligation to locate, evaluate, and serve students who may be in need of specially designed instruction and special education services. And as mentioned, we are finding a lot of kids. In fact, this year alone, the district has conducted 670 initial evaluations. A major shift this year was the federal mandate and the state's requirement that we now evaluate all students with dyslexia under special education. So that accounts for some of the increase in the special education referrals. And child find evaluations, they occur throughout the year. These numbers reflect data available at the time of this report, and it changes daily as more students are evaluated. We have completed the 670 initial evaluations across all disability categories and 523 initial speech evaluations. Our 7 licensed specialists in school psychology have conducted 450 psychological and autism evaluations, and there are currently 400 pending evaluations to date.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So,
yes.
and under the pending evaluations,
Yes.
where are you on the timelines? Do those have to be done by the end of the month?
So yes, ma'am. So we have, when I say pending evaluations, they're at some point in the evaluation process. Either they're with the care team or that we may or may not have consent.
Okay.
But we do have a plan to meet all initial evaluations, evaluation timelines. The current child count here is provided for each disability category, and some students may be captured in more than one category, but not in this count. This is just by primary disability. We currently serve 3,721 students, which reflects a 745 student increase from this time last year, and 16% of the total student population. So we are currently serving 1,118 students through speech therapy, and 595 students receive speech therapy only. Our largest category of growth continues to be students with autism, and so that's been highlighted because autism overall is considered a low incidence population, but is our 3rd largest disability category in the district.
How does that percentage compare to districts around us, the 16%?
It's higher than surrounding districts, yes. We have a very high number. See, even the computer froze on that number. To serve and support the diverse needs of the special education population of students, it truly does take a village. We have 192 special education teachers, 215 campus-based paraprofessionals, 26 diagnosticians conducting not only initial evaluations, but contributing to psychological evaluations and conducting reevaluations. We have 34 speech language pathologists who serve the 1,100 plus students and a host of other professionals for a total of 565 staff members evaluating or implementing student IEPs. Although student academic growth, this is not new information, I just wanted to highlight the academic growth of students with IEPs. This population was most affected by COVID. At the elementary level, student achievement in both math and reading has met or exceeded pre-COVID levels of achievement, with the greatest area of growth in reading. A similar trend was also realized at the middle school level, which also reflects an upward trend with the greatest growth in the area of reading. Student performance on end of course exams also reflects notable academic growth, and growth was indicated on all tested subjects. Now I want to highlight the department's performance on state and federal compliance indicators. Compliance activities align with the excellence and organizational improvement pillar of Aspire 2025, Objective 7.1. This time last year, the department had just completed the cyclical review, but had not yet received the results of the audits, the state audit in the areas of both special education and dyslexia. I'm happy to report the district was deemed 100% compliant for both programs. Compared to other districts who were in the same cyclical review as EMS ISD across Region 11, 46% of districts were deemed compliant in the special education program, and 40% were deemed compliant in the dyslexia program. Because this is a cyclical review process, cumulative state data are not available for comparison. Through the results-driven accountability, state system special education was determined as meets requirements, which is the highest rating. Regarding federal state performance plan indicator 11, which is child find timelines, indicator 12, early childhood timelines in transition, and indicator 13, transition, the district was 100% compliant in all areas compared to these state rates respectively. So this work is led by a fabulous team of professionals, including 2 directors, 4 coordinators, and 1 specialist, as well as our department administrative support team. We are also engaged in 2 research studies with university partners, and this aligns with Aspire 2025 Excellence in Academics 1.1 and Excellence in Personalized Opportunities 5.1. One of the areas for the research partnership is in dysgraphia intervention research, the Right Sounds intervention study with Dr. Pam Bazies, who is the principal investigator, and this project is through the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Our second research study is with Dr. Michael Fagella-Luby, who is the principal investigator with Texas Christian University, and this is a Tier 1 NIH or National Institutes of Health grant, Project IEDEB, which is Intellectual Employability Development and Increasing Competitive Integrated Employment for Individuals with Disabilities using Foresight GPS technology. Finally, I'm most excited to report that we just received notice last week that the grant applications that we submitted, one was for $111,930, and it was awarded to the district to provide training and intervention materials for special education teachers to implement the Reading by Design program for students with dyslexia who receive services through an IEP. We also received notice that the TEA Collaboration Autism Grant for Innovative Services for Students with Autism, it was submitted by Northwest ISD, who had volunteered to be the fiscal agent in collaboration with Keller ISD, EMS ISD, and Carroll ISD. This grant application was fully funded at $1.7 million for $41,321. So we're really excited about that. The next steps for both grants is to submit action plans and the budget worksheets to TEA. The autism grant is very comprehensive and it has 4 main goals, primarily to provide comprehensive training to paraprofessionals and teachers, to provide coaching, on-site coaching for teachers in the classroom, expanding supports to address the vocational needs of students, and a critical component is parent training so that we are supporting skill development and generalization across environments. Oops. So in summary, all areas within special programs continue to reflect an upward trend in the number of students being identified and served. Students with the greatest needs continue to increase at a rate that is greater than the overall district growth rate. We have a high number of evaluations and growth, which presents challenges for staffing, programming, and sustainability. Currently, we've finished our cyclical review with TEA, so we have an annual self-assessment. So we're currently conducting a self-assessment as part of the differentiated monitoring system. And in special programs, which include students who receive services through Section 504, through this dyslexia, through MTSS, and through special education, we serve 7,805 students, which reflects 33.5% of the district's total student population. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I have a couple.
Yes.
Surprise.
Yeah.
So first of all, congratulations on the grants and the
Thank
projects.
you.
Very, very, very excited about all of those. Dr. Fajala-Luby, I know very well. He and I have talked about this already. So
Excellent.
very excited, but also the grants, that's great. The one question I have is the 729 students with autism.
Yes.
And I know that's continuing to grow. So are those being identified, or are they already identified when they come, or is it a mix? And are they your younger population? You know what I'm asking.
Yes, ma'am. So it is a combination of all three. We're seeing a high rate, we can guess, with all the new housing. So if we have 16% of our total student population has students with disabilities, a percentage of that will be students with autism. We're seeing a very high rate of our little ones coming out of early childhood intervention with a high rate of autism. Most of the children that we've evaluated this school year have met eligibility criteria as students with autism.
That would be my guess. So that's what I was
Yes.
wondering. Okay. So the growth is in the young child.
Yes.
Majority. Okay. Well, hopefully those grants and will help everyone.
We're excited about that.
That's very good. Thank you.
Yes. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. We have time to do this real quick, this last one. All right, we're gonna sneak in here and finish off the reports. Chief Ramirez, come tell us about our audit report findings, please.
Madam President, Dr. Chadwell, and trustees, as part of the requirement of the school safety audits, we had 4 audits conducted. We had 1 finding at 1 school. We met with the Safety Security Committee Advisory Board, and we went over that finding as well as any recommendations and discussions to correct those measures. That's all I have.
Just want to let you know, I saw you on the news.
Did you?
You did
I'm sorry.
You did our district well.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is currently 6:06 p.m. on April 24th, and the board will now recess for dinner and then reconvene in a closed meeting pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Texas Government Code Section 551.071 for the purpose of private consultation with the board's attorney. Section 551.072 for the purpose of deliberating a purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Section 551.074 for the purpose of deliberating the appointment, employment, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public school officer or employee, or to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or an employee, and that does include contract renewals tonight. Section 551.076 for the purpose of deliberating regarding the deployment of specific occasions for implementation of security personnel or devices or security audits, which would also include the security audit that was recently performed. And Section 551.082 deliberate in a case involving the discipline of a public school child or complaint against or charge against an employee by another employee, and Section 551.0821 to discuss specific personal identifying information about a student. This is a public meeting of the Board of Education of Eagle Mountain Saginaw Independent School District. The board is reconvening in a public meeting on April 24th at 7:03 p.m. and will now consider the subjects set forth in the posted agenda. Welcome to our April meeting. I'm glad you're here joining us. It's a full house tonight. That's nice. We have an opening ceremony with Highland Middle School. Ms. Lasher.
Good evening. I am so excited to introduce to you a few of our Highland Hawks for the opening ceremony. I'm going to begin with Braden Williams. This is an 8th grade student. Yes, only 8th grade. He is all 6'2" of him. He is the son of Ginger and Cian Williams. Braden plays football, basketball, soccer, and he enjoys drawing as well as playing AAU basketball. Braden also participates in advanced academics. He wants to know what time he'll be able to attend his 7-on-7 football game this evening. Next, we have Valeria Orozco, and she is also in 8th grade. She is the daughter of Mariana Salas Fernandez and Jose Orozco. Valeria is a student in advanced girls choir, soccer, volleyball, and basketball. Valeria also participates in advanced academics, is a student in our Spanish 3-4 program, and will sit for the AP exam this school year as an 8th grader. And she is also a student in our AVID program. We also have Miss Morgan Hayes with us. She is a 6th grade student, and she is the daughter of Matt and Soledad Hayes. Morgan is a student in band. She participates in pre-athletics. She has attended STEM and STEM activities such as the STEM Showcase, and she was selected to attend Camp Goddard this school year. Morgan is definitely excited to participate in sports next year as a 7th grader, and she also participates in advanced academics. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have some special recognition, starting with our Education Services Department, Dr. Parker and Ms. Sanders.
Good evening, board members. It is a wonderful night to celebrate students and teachers, and I get to start with two fabulous teachers. Joining me is Director of Professional Development and Continuous Improvement, Ms. Beth Sanders, and she'll be handing a certificate and the cutest little pen that says NBCT, which is National Board Certification. We are very excited tonight to have two teachers who have gained the National Board Certification honor by taking tests and working through that process. They're here with us, and this also means that they now qualify for the Texas Teacher Incentive Allotment. Janet Harrison, would you join me? Janet Harrison comes to us after has been teaching with us for over 18 years, last 6 at EMS ISD in Boswell. She teaches English 1, and she is the department lead. She began the National Board Certification journey during the 2021 school year and just submitted her final component in this May. No, I'm sorry, May of 2022. It takes about a year. It's a very rigorous course. It's much like as tough as getting a master's. So we just want to celebrate her tonight. Joining her is her husband, Cliff. Keith, thank you. Great to have you. Great to have you. Also, we are celebrating Miss Cynthia Newman. Would you come forth, Miss Cynthia Newman, and your husband may come as well. Thank you. She has taught middle school science for 10 years in Arkansas before joining us here in Eagle Mountain, Saginaw. She now calls Prairie Vista her home. She came to EMS ISD with the encouragement of her daughter, who taught at, does she continue to teach?
No.
She did teach at Elkins Elementary, so her daughter recruited her. Again, she received you received your National Board Certification in Arkansas, and then came here.
But I got my continuing MOC. It's called MOC.
That's
that
right.
You do every 5 years. So
Yes.
I did that last fall.
And we're super excited to have her be, they are leading the way, both of them, and we hope to continue to grow our cohort. Beth Sanders oversees that and continues that recruitment process. So thank you, ladies, and congratulations.
Very impressive, ladies. I know that is a lot of work. We are very proud of your accomplishments. Next, we have some recognition from our career and technology programs competition winners, Dr. Eldridge.
President Ring, board members, Dr. Chadwell, leadership team. It is an honor to be here with you tonight to recognize students. This is the best part of my job, is to be here tonight to let them be recognized for the amazing things that they've done in their student organizations and activities. And so we have 13 students here with us. And thank you, because you made this happen. We'd like to start first with our Texas Public Safety Association Crime Scene Investigation Team. The team is comprised of Peyton Curtis, Boswell High School 12th grader, the daughter of Stephanie and Jacob Curtis. Zella Cheney, Boswell High School 12th grader, daughter of Gloria and Dusty Cheney. And Lakota Reed, Chisholm Trail High School 12th grader, daughter of Julie and Dustin Reed. Next, we'd like to recognize our HOSA Future Health Professionals winner, Madison Terry. Madison is a Chisholm High School 11th grader.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And she is the daughter of Brandy and Michael Terry, and her mom is with her tonight. And her sponsors, I want to recognize the adults that take care of these kids. Her sponsors are Mr. Yusuf Ali and Mrs. Dutton.
Mm-hmm.
And I failed to recognize the TPSA sponsor for our TPS team is Kristen Jernigan. Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, also known as FCCLA.
You want to stop here?
Come up here, we'll do a photo.
I don't know what to do. Yeah,
Stay right there. It's okay. I know, it's awkward.
I know, let's do a great big photo.
Let them all stand behind their teams.
Yes.
Direct them, Steve.
Thank you. I need somebody, it takes a village to raise a child.
No, we got it.
Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, FCCLA, winning at state and moving on to nationals in Public Policy Advocate Level 3, Sarah Harris. Woo. Sarah is a Chisholm High School 11th grader and the daughter of Sandra Dorsey and Matthew Harris. And Ariana Lugo, Chisholm High School 11th grader. Daughter of Jennifer and Cesar Navarro Jr. Their sponsors couldn't be here with us tonight, but their sponsors are Chelsea Nussbaumer and Sarah Zamzo. Skills USA, first place at state and moving on to nationals in automotive maintenance and light repair. Jonathan Almodovar, Jonathan is an 11th grader coming back to us going into practicum next year. And he is the son of Raquel Hinajos, and his sponsor is Mr. Cruz and Mr. Donnelly. Trinity Gill was not able to be here with us tonight, but Trinity will be moving on to nationals in cosmetology skills. She is a 12th grader at Saginaw High School and the daughter of Ariana and Albert Tavrino and Roger and Erica Gill, and her sponsor is Sherry Davis. Texas Association of Future Educators, Educators Rising, first place at state and moving on to nationals in varsity teaching created materials. One of our future EMS ISD educators, Janie Musnig, who is a 12th grader at Saginaw High School. She is the daughter of Christina and Jonathan Musnig, and her sponsor is Lindsay Metz. And we are so proud to say that for the 9th year in a row, and this 37th student that we are sending to the NASA Space Settlement Design Competition International Contest, We have 4 students. We had 3 and we just found out this weekend we have a 4th. And so we are so proud of them. Moving on is Aaron Ho, Boswell High School 12th grader, son of, he is the son of Long Vu K Ho and Van Wook Nguyen. Next we have Tristan Ingram. Tristan is a 12th grader at Boswell High School, and he is the son of Christy and Brian Ingram. Emerson Adams, Saginaw High School. Emerson is the son of Lindsay and Eric Adams. And the one we just found out about that we were so thrilled to learn about this weekend when we found out that he moved into the international competition based on his scores during his competition, and I know he was really excited as well. Rylan Brosh. Boswell High School 12th grader, son of Brian and Billy Brosh, and his sponsor, their sponsor, is Mr. Rick Griffith. In front of you stand the students who will be representing you at national and international competitions this summer, who have put their best foot forward, who have been the face of EMS ISD literally across the state and across the country. And so I present to you the best of the best.
You want to get them up here to get a picture?
Yeah, let's get one.
Come this way and turn around.
Let some
Let their parents get a picture too.
Let's get out of the way.
Together.
Yeah. I know.
1, 2, 3.
This is the best seat in the house. Y'all have the best seat. Oh, no. I think on that so long. You know.
We again want to thank you for the support. So many districts these days don't have the kind of support that we do for our students to have these kind of opportunities. And so we're so grateful to our board and our leadership team for providing this to our students. Thank you.
Congratulations again to you all. Thank you for representing us so well at the state and national level. We are so proud of you all. Next, we've got a few special introductions from our Education Services Department. Dr. Parker.
Hard to top those students, isn't it? But I'm going to try it with 4 incredible leaders. We're going to introduce 4, actually 5, but Sean Bell said he gets to do 1. So let's start. We have a brand new director of college, career, and military readiness. I believe you know him, Mr. John Fahey. Come on down. Mr. Fahey is an accomplished educator of over 18 years, experience in the field of education. His most recent stint being the Wayside principal. He's done an incredible job of leading that school to great success. We are excited to get his passion for numbers and data and holding people accountable as we move into the age of accountability with CCMR at a whole new level. He will do a great job. John's by himself tonight because his loving wife of 14 years and 2 children, 6 and 4, are at home, sadly with strep throat. But we're excited to have him here. I'm going to step this way. No, really. He'll be joining us over here at the new administration building starting about June 1. So he's already kind of playing both roles, and we are super excited to have him join us. Thank you, John. Great to have you. Our next leader also is a familiar face. She is joined tonight by her parents, Dan and Ann. I just think that's so cute, Dan and Ann. And that is Miss Dana Switzer. Come on down. Your parents can do a wave if they like. Great to have them. Dana will be leading the Land of the Dozier Ducks, and we are certainly excited to name her as the new principal. She has 26 years of teaching experience, and she has done such a fabulous job for us as an assistant principal, before that as a teacher and an interventionist as well. Behavior specialist, that's right, sorry about that. But she has a wealth of information and knowledge regarding 504, special education, and leading a school. So we know she's going to do a great job at Dozier in the Land of the Ducks. I just love to say that too. So thank you so much for being with us. Our third introduction tonight is Miss Carla Doss, and her husband is with her. You can do it standing up in the back. They're super excited for Carla to come to EMS ISD. Not only is she loving the team with Kirk Murdoch and his field of educators there, but she is our new instructional materials coordinator, and I think that she has taken a heavy weight off Mr. Murdoch's shoulders as she's taken on that work as the materials coordinator. She graduated from Tarleton State University with both a bachelor's and a master's, and taught technology courses for 10 years, and most recently has been an instructional technology specialist at HEB, and we are super excited to have her join our team. And she's super excited to be here because she told me her drive has been cut from an hour to like 5 minutes. So. Our final introduction tonight is Miss Monica Padilla. Can you come on down, Miss Monica Padilla? I think she has several people here supporting her. She is our new elementary science coordinator, and she has been all over the place in EMS ISD, working and teaching both at the middle school and elementary school level. She has been married to her husband Ozzy for 22 years, and I don't think I got to y'all. Is he here in the crowd?
Got your lead.
Okay, so he can do a wave. There you go. Awesome, awesome.
National Neurology Society inductions.
Oh, that's right, that's right. She has two daughters, Lila, who is a senior at Chisholm Trail High School, and Alicia is a 7th grader at Creekview Middle School. So we're excited to have her. Monica herself is a proud Tarleton Texan and has been an EMS ISD proud educator since the fall of 2008. And now she'll take over as our new elementary science coordinator. So join me in welcoming her to the team. We have one more person in our fine arts. Director would like to introduce them.
Madam President, Dr. Chadwell, members of the board, Peanut Gallery, it is my honor and privilege to introduce and welcome Mrs. Carla Hardy as our Assistant Director of Fine Arts. Carla has been active in public education for 20 years as an assistant principal, a high school and middle school choir director, accompanist, and vocal coach. She graduated with her Bachelor of Arts in Vocal Performance in 2002 and a master's degree in education in 2013, both from Wayland Baptist University out in West Texas. Mrs. Hardy serves as a clinician, a judge for regions and choirs all over the state. And she is married to the man, the myth, the legend, and he's here tonight, Mr. Jared Hardy. Carla and Jared have two beautiful children, Jacob and Lily, who are extremely active in fine arts on their campuses here in Eagle Mountain, Saginaw. Mrs. Hardy is an avid reader and a fan of Texas Rangers baseball and Texas Tech athletics. And she wanted to sing an Italian aria from a Verdi opera, but I said we probably wouldn't have time, so. Only Barbara.
of our new positions there, and that concludes the fun stuff. You are certainly welcome to stay, but if that's what you were here for, now would be a great time to sneak out while we get ready to move on to our action items. Thank you.
Great job.
Yeah.
The whole audience. While we are.
Yeah.
That one cleared out.
Springtime.
Yes.
Just move to the front. Wait, tell them there's front row seats available.
There are front row seats now available. To the action. All right.
Okay, got it.
I'm sorry I left you out to stay.
We did conclude all of our reports in the 5 o'clock session, so we are ready to move on to our action items. Our first action item is consider approving the special education compensation proposal. Mr. Logan, you're already ready for us.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, President Ring, Board of Trustees, Dr. Chadwell. Thank you for the opportunity to be up here again this evening. I'm bringing to you for your consideration for action a motion for the special ed compensation proposal that we brought to you for report back in March. We have amended this this action item since the last time I was here for report just a bit. Just a little background on this. After bringing it to you for report in March, we have amended it because we're still not getting much information out of Austin, as you've heard previously in the previous board session earlier tonight. And so continuing with fiscal responsibility that that our district maintains, we have amended it a little bit to have the proposal for the special education self-contained teacher back to $4,500 stipend from the $6,000 that was proposed back in March. That is still leading the market. There's not many districts that have come out with anything close to that. The closest competitor, if you will, would be $4,100. So we are still setting the market, and we feel like that will continue our drive to recruit and maintain our teachers in a highly needed area going forward into the summer and to next school year. And we are still recommending a special education aid, or for our paraprofessionals, a minimum of 6% raise with some room to move that forward and expand on that if we need to as we get more information from Austin. So my recommendation is for this amended package that you see before you.
I move to approve the special education compensation proposal as presented.
Second.
A motion by Liz and a second by Donna. Is there any discussion?
Well, I have one question. So you did amend it, but you also took out the other stipend for special ed teachers that were not self-contained. So we're still looking at that depending on Austin, right?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am. As we get more information from Austin, our hope is to bring that potentially back in with our supplemental compensation proposal in the future. So that is still something that we are considering down the road. Yes, ma'am.
And one note, in looking at the market, we did find that the one most common in other districts was the positions for self-contained. We did not really find, were there any that were for special education only?
No, there weren't any in our area that just did a general, what we call a general special education stipend. The ones we did find were for the self-contained, the specialty teachers, if you will. But so that would be something that we would also potentially leave the market in if we came back and did that down the road. Yes, sir.
It remains a desire again, depending on
Yes.
the kind of financial situation.
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? And there are none. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Next, we're going to move to act on the purchase and installation of gymnastics equipment and floors for Eagle Mountain High School. And this is Mr. Kidd coming to the microphone, and we did table this, I will remind the board, last time, so we would need a motion to bring it.
I make a motion, we place it back on the table.
Second.
All right, I have a motion from
so I
Steve
took it
and a
off.
second from Tim. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? And there are none. And then either if Mr. Kidd has a presentation or if we have a motion on the actual item itself.
I make a motion to award Gym Supply for the purchase and installation of gymnastics equipment and flooring for Eagle Mountain High School at a cost not to exceed $336,725.
Second.
I have a motion by Tim and a second by Liz. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? There are none. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have consider approving the EMS ISD voucher resolution. Dr. Chadwell.
Yes, board members, we have a resolution in your packet this evening for consideration. It's a resolution specifically regarding vouchers that are being considered currently by the state legislature. As it indicates, I won't read the entire resolution that's in your packet, but as it states, there are great concerns regarding vouchers, not just for public schools, but for private schools, any other non-public school. There are significant concerns over the impact of what that would do for school districts, for the impact to be able to provide services, the impact for students to continue, for those students maybe wishing to leave with a voucher to go to a non-public school, especially for children that receive special education services, for them to retain their federal protections such as due process rights and provisions of their IEPs that would be protected by law. Again, many things that are shared there. We know there's been a lot out there in the state right now regarding the vouchers and the potential impact. We believe that there's not a path forward. The numbers simply do not make sense to consider that for the state of Texas. We don't believe it's a good idea. And as I said, not just for public schools, for private schools as well. So this is something we've shared with our elected officials, not this particular resolution, but our concerns. And of course, you approved the legislative priorities that lists this as one of them. This enumerates this specific issue more in detail. Should the board approve this evening, we would share this with our elected officials and also with the community.
I move to approve the EMS ISD vouchers, education savings accounts, taxpayer savings grants, and other mechanisms that reduce public education funding.
Second.
I have a motion by Marilyn and a second by Donna. Any discussion? Seeing none?
TASB also wants to know about it. If we approve it, can we send it to them also?
Yes, sir. And TASB did send a model resolution. We did revise the resolution. For example, it talked about private schools. We revised that to say non-public because we really don't believe this is just a private versus public issue. Vouchers are bad for all kids. 5.4 million that are in public schools, our homeschool children, and our private school children. It does not make sense. There's a reason those three different choices of education exist, and we believe vouchers would have a considerable negative impact. And so we did take the resolution that TASB did, but we added a few resolutions there at the end, again, about the important autonomy and of those other options and the important role they play in Texas. And also we did mention the fact that students will lose transportation services, compensatory services when students are not meeting academic targets, even free reduced lunch. When you consider that the state's average percentage of students that are economically disadvantaged that receive free and reduced lunch, those entities don't have to provide that. And nor would they be funded to provide it. And so there's just many concerns, and we added a few things from TASB and to put this forward for consideration.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? There are none. Motion carries 6-0. And now act on the purchase and installation of window film. Mr. Lee.
Madam President Ring, members of the board, Dr. Chadwell. The Texas Education Agency proposed school safety standards for instructional facilities. An amendment to 19 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 61, states, except when inside an exterior secure area, all ground level windows near exterior doors that are a size and position that permits entry from the exterior, if broken, shall be constructed or modified such that the glass cannot be easily broken and allow an intruder to enter through the window frame. Once this information was received, we acquired a list of approved vendors from our purchasing department. It was at this time that we discussed specific products that could be utilized for delayed intrusion. 3M's Ultra S800 was then reviewed and finalized by our very own Eagle Mountain Saginaw Police Department. The district requested quotes from multiple purchasing cooperative vendors for the purchase and installation of the recommended window film. The district received quotes from 3 vendors, Binswanger Glass, Home Window Tinting, and Window Film Depot. All 3 provided quotes for the recommended product. Window Film Depot provides the best value and a 12-year warranty for materials. Funding for this purchase will come from the 2022 through 2025 School Safety Standards Formula Grant. This project is estimated to last 2 months with an early July start date. Any questions?
I have a question after we get a motion.
Is there a motion?
I'd like a motion to award Window Film Depot for the purchase and installation of delayed intrusion window film at all Eagle Mountain Saginaw ISD instructional facilities at a cost not to exceed $448,237.40.
Second.
I have a motion by Marilyn, a second by Donna. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. So their bid was like half of one and two. Is there any concern? So there's that much difference in the bid. What's the reason?
Right, there's a couple of things there. Window Film Depot is a national company, so they've got a larger bank, larger funding. 2, the way that they apply the product was different from the second vendor who had quoted. The way that they do it, it's a little bit pricier. The manufacturer doesn't talk on the way that they apply the product, but it's essentially a aluminum strip that anchors the film to the window, to the frame, in which this vendor uses a structural caulk per se. So
And you can
that's
see
only
through it, right? You can still see through it. So
absolutely. The film looks the same. It's what's holding the film to the actual frame of the door.
So, Mr. Lee, that's every window in the I mean, how is that going to
No,
be?
it's only at every entryway.
Entryway, that's what I thought.
And the
I wanna
windows
clarify
next to
that.
the entryway.
Okay.
At ground level.
Yes.
Yes, that is correct, at the ground level.
So these would be not.
And possible.
That door, and well, that's a good question. You know, since we are technically ground level from the main entry, that's something that, fortunately, this isn't considered one of those spaces.
And that was a mandate from the.
Yep, TEA.
And why is there a difference? You have it for $448,237.40, but the quote was for $408,237. Why is there a $40,000?
Yeah, we added a $40,000 contingency,
Yeah.
so essentially 10%.
And I think I just saw a documentary on this. Isn't this to keep the glass from shattering?
That is correct. So
Right.
It's
not going to be bulletproof, but it's going to be shatter resistant, correct?
Absolutely. So it helps against inclement weather. If somebody deters break-ins, it holds the glass together. And then, any sort of blast mitigation that keeps the glass from shattering, spraying on the interior side.
Sounds like a good investment.
All right, all those in favor? Opposed? There are none. Motion carries 6-0. That concludes the action items. Moving on to routine monthly reports. Were there any questions with the routine monthly reports? All right, then Dr. Chadwell, let's review the board planning calendar.
Yes, this is on page 165 of your packet. Just to note, we have on May the 16th to canvass the 2023 trustee election. And so I know Ken will just be ensuring that we have the minimum number of people required for that meeting. Also, the Monday 22nd meeting with the administer oath of office for place 6 and place 7. Recognition of ALI and AII participants will continue with reports for human resources. We will begin discussion on the compensation plan report. I'm going to tell you now that could remain premature depending on what's been decided by that date. Obviously by this time of the year, we want to have some discussions publicly regarding compensation. We're really holding to see what that probable number is from the state. We'll continue with prioritized staffing proposals, budget updates. We'll have a quarterly demographic report for the first quarter 2023, construction update, and a review of the 2023 student code of conduct and an ELA update. there's any questions on any of these items, oh, I'm sorry, one other is we have act on the 23-24 student code of conduct and consider approving the renewal of agreement with Gold Star Transportation.
Are we going to hear a report and approve it the same night? It's in the report.
Gold Star?
No, the student code of conduct.
That's the way it's listed right now, because it typically is, it's not made a lot of changes in the last years. Most likely, and Ms. Turrentine's in the room, most likely this will be approved preliminarily, and because of the legislature meeting,
okay.
there'll probably be another one coming in the summer. It could be as late as August, hopefully as soon as July.
When do the kids don't they have to sign it or?
They do. There's some special allowances when the laws have changed. We want to go ahead and front load as much of this as possible, so we know that unless the state legislature changes something, what we have in place
is ready.
Yeah.
Questions? All right, that brings us to the consent agenda.
Move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Steve and a second by Tim. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? There are none. Motion carries 6-0. Great. And that moves us to board president's announcements. You mentioned it, but I just wanted to remind any of us that have said we will be there for the canvassing election meeting to make sure we are there at 4:30 on the 16th. And then you've got these on your calendars, I'm sure, but graduation, Watson on 5/26, the other 3 high schools on 5/27, and you may or may not, this wasn't a Friday update, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention. There will be a second Watson graduation ceremony on August 4th at 7 p.m. this year. That's new this year, so I just wanted to put it on your radar. That's all I had.
All right, just had a few calendar items here. As we have this Thursday, we have evening with the experts at Chisholm Trail. It'll be very, very busy and exciting. Kids always enjoy presenting their projects. We also have the EMSI State Retirees and Years of Service Banquet. That's at the HCTC. That's different because it'll be in the evening from 5 to 7. We also have the Industry and Hiring Fair for CTE on May the 10th. That'll be all day. We also have the EMSI State Fine Arts Showcase at Bass Hall. Sean Bell will be here after the meeting, if you don't mind, please, just in case there's any questions specific to that. And also just please make sure, I believe we have an email out for those of you that are attending so we can make sure you have tickets. And final thing I just want to say is just for 2 of our colleagues that this is
Final countdown.
The final countdown, yes. I think I'll say something if anybody wants to interrupt me, feel free, but I think just for Donna and Liz, just enjoyed working with y'all so much. Donna was on the team that selected me as superintendent, and so
don't blame me.
Just had regrets ever since, but I've just thoroughly enjoyed working with her and her mind. That really is such a legal mind, and her ability to take problems and to break those apart and to look at good ways to find solutions, and just at the same time just having a passion for children. Very, very thankful for you and everything you've done to serve this board. And also for Liz, one of the first people I met when I came to the board, and I asked people who should I meet, and Liz was on everybody's list that I should meet. Of course, she was the director of curriculum and done also just an incredible job. Just the passion you have and compassion for children, and just the focus on others all the time. It's just been a privilege to serve with y'all. So I'll yield any time if any of my colleagues up here want to say anything as well. So.
No, that's plenty.
That's plenty?
Yeah,
okay.
that is.
That's plenty. And I do want to, just for the audience benefit, they will be here at the beginning of the May
Yes.
meeting, and we will do something a little more formal there as well. But with this being their last full meeting to serve with us, it has been a pleasure and an honor to serve with both of you ladies. Such big hearts for children, always focused on doing the right things for our kids and our district responsibly. 2 amazing ladies and mentors, and we are all going to be crushed to see you leave this board.
Yeah, and my mentor.
I know you're going to be on your own.
No.
Y'all watch out.
Oh, boy.
I feel lost.
Thank you.
Well, I also have enjoyed working with both of you, getting to know you, I consider you friends now as much as fellow board members. So it's been great working with you, Liz, and with you, Donna. And we will miss your attorney input, absolutely. So y'all, whoever's going to replace those have big shoes to fill, and we'll sure we'll miss each one of you. You sure will.
Thank you. Likewise.
And I'm going to just say ditto, because then I'll start crying.
Yeah.
That won't be a good
And,
thing.
and you know, Madam
So-
President, I mean, you told me earlier, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, and Liz and I have been friends for a long time, but we've just gotten closer and closer since this has been, and getting to know Donna more and more, and I mean, it's just
We
been.
were special education.
We were special
buddies.
education, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be different, but it'll be good, but it'll be, so you'll just be around the corner and not.
That's right.
You won't be at the meeting, you'll be, having dinner somewhere probably. So, anyway,
Margaritas.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to both of you.
Let's go ahead and give them a round of applause. Thank you.
Since there's nothing further before the board, Liz and I are I will move to adjourn the meeting for the last time.
And that's a second.
I have a motion by Donna and a second by Liz. All those in favor? We are adjourned.
Uh,